Hey y'all, it's your buddy 16-Bit Gambit coming back at you with another video. And in this video, we're doing the second part of the enemy spawning topic. So what I'm going to do with you on this one is we are going to go start to finish and we're going to make our own enemy spawning machine. So this is going to be making the node, creating the script, and then having it all set up and adding it to the map so that we can have a spawn point that basically just generates infinite enemies. So let's dig into it. Okay, so now we are currently in Godot and let's get going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new scene and I'm going to make that dude a character body 2D. So change type, character body 2D. And we're going to go ahead and give this one a name because afterwards I'm going to delete it. So this one is going to be new enemy spawner. And inside of this guy, we are going to go ahead and we're going to have a collision shape. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have a sprite. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have a detection area, which is going to be an area 2D. And we're going to have a polygon inside of that bad boy. And we're going to have an animation player. And we're going to have another area with a collision shape inside of there. And a marker. Let's see, for the sprite, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and add our character or enemy sprites 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'll click this sprite, go to animation. We are 12 frames across, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip H so this guy stands out compared to the one that I've already made. For the collision shape, I'm just going to put a big old flat rectangle on the bottom so we don't fall through the bottom of the map. I'm going to go ahead and drag that below the sprite so I can see it relatively. It doesn't need to be all the way across, but whatever. Okay, this is going to be our detection area. Detection area and our detection shape. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to make this one a circle. You can make it a rectangle, circle, it doesn't really matter, but basically this is going to be the deal that whenever the character shows up, we're going to notice them whenever they step in there. Animation, we're going to do that one last. And then next we're going to do our hurt area. Yeah, whatever. Hurt area. Hurt shape. And real quick, I'm going to drag this marker. This marker is just going to make it easier. Like, this is my crutch since I'm not super good programmer. I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but for now, this is where I'm going to use this in telling my external items where to go. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to create one called a spawn pod. So make this one a change type, character body 2D, and in the spawn pod we're also going to have a sprite and an animation player and a collision shape. And of these two items, This one's probably going to be the easier one. So for the sprite, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the plant spawn. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So animation 17 across. And this is the easier of the two. Going to go ahead and give myself, just keep it simple, we're going to add a new collision shaped circle. And this is going to give us the ability to collide with the ground and then set some rules based on that one. And the animations that I've got for this dude are fall, grow, rot, and spawn. So animation new, fall, and I'm going to go ahead and see for falling. Hey, why not? So this assumes that we're coming off the tree, so I think I have 3. Let's make that 0.25 and 1.5 for now. And we'll set that one to loop. So round, round, fat, fatter, fattest, not so fat, click, click, not so fat, click, round, and we're going to make that 1.75. And this will probably play a little bit slow. Let's see. Whatever. 0.125. What's half of 1.75? 0.8375? I'm probably going to be off by a little bit. Bonk, 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 and yeah, that's a little bit better. Cool. And we're going to do grow. So animation, new, grow, blob, animation player. Let's see how many we got for this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7, 7. .875. We're not going to loop that one, so that looks pretty good. And rot. New rot. How many animations do I have for, or how many sprites do I have for rot? So So rot is 1. 2, 3, 4. Is that it? Okay. So we'll just say that's 0.6 long. No, that's not right. 0.5, because I'm stupid. Blah, 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 blah. It's not going to be looped. Okay. And spawn. I think spawn we just go invisible. Meh. So, animation, new. I'm doing this one on the fly. I was a liar earlier when I said I would just copy paste code into these things, so get ready for a long one. Oh god. Okay, so let's see. Visibility off. Collision shape disabled on. And let's go back to fall, fall, we're going to make sure that we are, by default, we're enabled. And we're going to have animation visibility on. There you go. Go bulb, once again, visible, lock it to on, collision shape. This one doesn't matter. Maybe I'll add something later where I can smack those things. Maybe you can get something cool. I'm always, God, it's terrible. If I'm thinking about stuff and I'm talking out loud, maybe I'll come up with better stuff. Anyway, disabled on, visible locked on, create. We're going to call this one new spawn pod, because I'm also going to delete this one afterwards, spawn pood. Whatever. We're going to go ahead and add a script. Also call this one new spawn pod. And we're going to throw this guy over into scripts. New spawn pod. Delete me. Create. So we got new spawn pod. Save this one. Throw it into scenes. I don't even know if I'm doing this stuff right as far as how it's organized. If any of y'all are computer scientists, let me know how far off the mark I am with this stuff. Alrighty, cool. So let's go to my cheat sheet, because I'm not 100% winging this one. That would just be embarrassing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and this is how I try to organize my stuff, because really I don't know what the proper way is that like real people that are making games do stuff. So I think I'm following the naming convention. I think that I'm organizing this stuff correctly. Do I know? Bah. On ready var anim equals this animation player right here. Okie doke. Then variables, if I can spell right. Variables. We've got on ready var status, which is a string. I think I'm doing this right. Equals nothing. And we're going to have statuses of nothing, grow, bulb, grown, falling, spawned, and rotted, if I can spell. Okie doke. Ready for falling is a bool, but we're going to default to false for now. And on ready var pod dot gravity gravity pod dot gravity equals 800. Why don't you like that? Expected in a statement. Huh? Do. 10. Expected end of statement after variable declaration found dot instead, cause oh gosh, embarrassing. Function ready. What's up, dog? Pass. Function physics. Oh boy. If I could spell. God. Function physics process. If status equals falling. Let's go for lowercase on that one. What do you say? Equals falling velocity dot y equals pod gravity times delta. Cool. And so this is basically how I'm going to make sure that the thing only moves when I tell it to move. And the good old move and slide. Move and slide, bracket down. All right. Go ahead. If I can control my cheat sheet. Let's go ahead and add the function play grow nm.play grow bulb. Set the status. Grow. I probably should do this as an enum afterwards. That'd be the smart thing if I was a professional programmer. Oh well. Function play. Maybe if someone's creative, they can do a react to this video and throw on a counter for every time I start talking about how I don't code professionally. Well, I was in Toastmasters and they had something called the counter. Maybe it was a like counter. The counter was how many times you say or like without really thinking about it. People use those as words to buy themselves time whenever their mouth is going a little bit faster than their brain can keep up, which, to be fair, there's two. It always seems to happen when there's an audience. So we're adding these we're adding these functions to be called to from the outside to play the animations, then also update the status inside of these pods so we know what's going on. And once again, a reminder, this is the code that's inside of the spawn pod. This is not inside of that spawner yet. So although they have their own scripts, they exist off to the side because it's really tricky. The thing that I found to be a real pain in the butt is it needed to be its own isolated thing with its own character body in order so I could both apply gravity, do the move and slide, and then also use the is on ground functionality for when it collides with layer 1 function play rod and dot play stupid and dot play stupid rod TTED. Oh boy. Alright, and since we got the animation player, one of the things I've noticed whenever I'm doing a state machine or making sure that stuff has been done is in the animation player, they got this they got this really helpful animation finished functionality, which is really cool because if you got like a character state that you want to make sure that the animation is done playing before you exit it, this thing is awesome. If you got an attack state, if you've got a damage state, something that needs to complete, but your state machine isn't smart enough to know to wait until it's done, this is a good way to throw in a little status flag to let you know that something has been completed. So you'll notice I've only got 3 animations for playing: grow, fall, rotted. The spawned one is just going to be so it doesn't block anything or trigger anything. I noticed when I was working on this one that until I turned off the collisions for this stuff, you could have other characters or other enemies like just running in to something that was hidden. I almost said so to speak, but I don't know why. Almost like the old guy from Jurassic Park, how he constantly says spared no expense. If anim underscore name equals grow blub status equals grown. If anim underscore name equals rot status equals, although this may be, that's redundant. We'll see what's happened. Well, playing so far hasn't broken anything, it's just not needed. Let's see, is, oh boy. Alrighty, if and name equals go bulb, and it's done, grown, rotted, cool. Let's see, and then I added a couple other functions. I'm trying to get to the point where I use the same code for the same, at least type of enemy. So if I've got just like low-level foot soldiers, they all can use the same code. Then I just handle stuff with export variables. We'll see how successful I am. But one of the items that has been helpful for me is when you add a function, even if you don't use it, you can use it as a flag inside of your damage or like noticing functions. No contact damage. And so in the action part of the game, because I've got functionalities that are written to detect when the character's body is intruded by another body, I add this so that I can have an if statement. If no contact damage, then just skip over the damage function. Another one is a function that's just underscore this is an enemy. The function itself right now doesn't do anything, but you can check, has method and basically just see, what it is that's hit your character. So I'm going to go ahead and save this bad boy real quick, as long as I'm clicking on the right window. Save. Let's take a look at this, and let's go ahead and watch the animations. So we got fall. That's on loop. Never gets all the way through. Falls too fast. Got grow bulb. Do. Awesome. Plays all the way through. Visible, disabled. Visible, disabled. Visible, disabled. Do. Do. Low fuel. And spawn. Spawn just turns invisible, disabled. That's it. Super cool. And I think that's all for the bulb. Everything else is just called from inside of my dude over here. So yeah, let's take a look. Sprite, collision shape, detection area, detection shape. Collisions, not on any layer, but we're going to be listening for 3, 2. Scripts. Player is on 2. Okay. So we're going to be saving first off. New enemy spawner, infinite spawner, whatever you want to call that bad boy. Going to be listening for 3. And this doesn't have its own script yet, so it's not going over. Detection area, 2. Detection shape, already there. Animation player, last. Herd area. Gotta have some way to get this dude to stop making things, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to add a circle, and we're going to pop it right over top of that guy's eyeball. Yeah, good enough. Marker's already on top of the first one. And then we're going to also add, because I forgot, let's go ahead and add 2 more markers, because we got 2 more spawn pods eventually. Marker. Markers are pretty cool. I also use them in another part of this to define the extents for where the camera can go for every map. It's not trade secrets. I'm sure I copied it off someone. So like this marker right here inside this code for my platformer maps, on the startup, it will take it and just go for the XY coordinates and set those to the max, Y and X values. And then this other one, it's probably right there. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, which funny enough is as I'm talking about position stuff. All right, so 3 markers, drag the spawn on, pod in later. Oh, animation player because I'm stupid. Okay, so we're going to have a few more animations on this one. So we're going to start off with death animation. we're going to click on the sprite, and I think those are the last ones I made. Thankfully, there's only 12 animations. For now, let's go ahead and turn off the visibility on these bad boys. Doop, doop, stop that. Doop, 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 doop. All right, that's the death animation. Let's have it go from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So 1, create, and we'll just have that one play over the course of 0.6 seconds, and we'll say that those are all 0.15 apart. So 2, 3, 4, and delete this bad boy, drag those back. Death animation, cool. So that means that if I was to be thorough, I'd probably want to go ahead and at the beginning of this, turn off monitoring and monitorable, and then also turn off the hurt shape. And same for detection area. If I was to be thorough, I'd probably go ahead and turn that off as well. Disabled, blah blah blah. That don't matter. I don't want it to fall through the floor. Cool. So fall asleep. New animation. Sleep. Cool. So let's go for the easy ones. We'll go ahead and we'll say that we are monitoring and we are monitoring here. You're not disabled. Super duper. Let's take a look at what looks like this dude's going to be falling asleep. Yeah, we'll just play this backwards. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right. So 1. Let's have the first thing happen a little bit faster. Let's see, that is 1 second long, 0.5, 0.2. Yeah, cool. I'll dig it. Okay, so we're going to add hurt. Hurt. Everything's going to stay the same. Detectable, detectable, disabled, detectable, detectable, enabled. Sorry, folks. And we are hurt. So an animation that's going to look like we're hurt. I would say that the eyes would get really big for a second and they would close. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so let's make that a half second. And we'll say those are all 0.125. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. That was hurt. And so we're going to add animation. Look. That'd be awkward to try to find a double underscore. Look left. May have opened up Pandora's. Nah. I'm just filling empty space. Looking away. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so look left. So I think look left is going to be 2 frames long. It's going to be a half a second. And it's going to be 0.25 apart. And we're going to go 1, 2. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, and duplicate because I'm lazy. Look right, and the only thing I'll need to do is update the frame that I'm using. So that's 2, that's 4. I bet 3 is going to work. So look right. There you go. Alright, super duper. That doesn't need to be a loop. Okay. So we just got 2 more. We got sleep and we got wake. Animation. New. Sleep. Let's see. Let's keep that one at a second long. Definitely want to be able to detect everything. Again, making sure those work. So even if he's sleeping, someone can walk up and whack him in the face. Let's see, what makes this guy look like he is asleep? I guess just those 2. So we're going to start right here. Never turns invisible, so I don't need to mess with visibility. And maybe like at maybe about like almost all the way through, opens his eye just a little bit for a second and goes back. See what it looks like. Yeah, we'll make it a little bit slower. Yeah, how about that? And wake. So animation, new. Definitely going to be able to notice people moving around when he's awake. Whatever. All this stuff I'm doing with the areas and the shapes is I'm making sure that when I want it to be able to either be hurt or notice that someone is there, whether it's this or the spawn pod, we're able to do that one. And I'm doing wake. So sprite. Very similar to the sleeping idle. So your eyes open up a little bit. 2. What if his eye got really big and then chilled out? Maybe even looks left and right. Let's see. What else can I get there? Real big. We'll go left, right, and then look in the middle. So, left, right, then looks at you. We'll make that 1.2. And we're awake. More time. Eyes open, left, right, looking ahead. Super duper. Let's see, timer. Gotta add a timer on this one. Way the heck down here. We're going to say the timer time right now is like 2 seconds. What I'm going to do this is going to be kicking things off as we're progressing through the spawning process. So wake up, sleep, it's on a loop. Look right, look left, hurt, fall asleep, there we go, and death. Yeah, pretty good. Also, since I got these other 2 markers, let's go ahead, move them. Okie doke. Quick save, and let's go ahead and add ourselves the script with the same name. even though it's going to be in the script folder. Let's see. We're going to add the nodes. Nodes. Ready? Var. Going to have 3 of these guys. Bonk, bonk. We're going to have spawn anim equals animation player. Going to have detection area. Imagine. And we're going to have detection shape. I don't know if it's good practice to have a variable name that's shorter than what it's replacing, but whatever. And then we're also going to go ahead and on ready var spawn timer equals this dude over here. Bonk bonk. And var spawn index. And what this thing is going to be is that's just going to be literally going 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Because since I'm not going to have all the spawning pods going at the same time, that's how I'm going to be tracking which one I'm prompting to act. Right now, I'm going to default to 0. Var spawn list right now. Super duper. And we're going to need to add, for just the first spawn by itself, let's see, on, ready. I think I might have to delete these. What I did was I put the code in off to the side just to make sure I didn't completely mess up while there was an audience. So one doc, although I probably should have spelled that one with a K, whatever. 2, 3. So the actual pod itself. New spawn pod, putting it right under the marker. And to get access to that animation player. And status. Now I think by the end of this video I'll be able to delete all these bad boys. Let's see, variable pod. Yeah, this one definitely can go. Shut up with your velocity. Let's see. Function variables. Sure, why not? Enum state. And these are the states of the spawning tree. Sleep, awake, hurt, dead, super duper, on ready, current, var, current, state equals state dot asleep, on ready, var, wake, boolean equals false, on ready, var, target, hey, target equals null, on ready, var, wake, animation started. This is a flag to make sure that the animation plays all the way through. Equals false. And wake animation fin. Funny enough, I think Fin was also Latin for ended. So we're going to have 2. So we got wake animation that we want to make sure. We've got look animation, look. We've got hurt. Okay. Okay, then on ready our last section. Nothing. Ready our new direction equals nothing. Ready our L underscore R. Cool. Stats. Don't need that. Don't need that. That's all junk. Don't need that. Don't need that. Already our HP equals. Sure, why not? Don't need any of that other stuff right now. Hopefully, this would be very embarrassing if I made a mistake on my own video. Super duper. And then we got one signal, which is signal. Oh, the dog's asleep and kicking. Super cool. Summon. And we're going to send, although we're calling it emitter, it's probably just going to be the location of the address for the enemy node. Emitter and position. Yeah? Cool. Alright, so on ready, function ready, spawn timer start. Really? I don't know if I like that. I'm going to evaluate that one. We're going to say play, sleep. Yeah? Okay, going to leave that one alone for now. Just doing the one. This is where I'm winging it. I could just copy paste in a library of all this stuff that I made to run it, but for now, I'll not. Alright, cool. So already on top of that marker, I'm going to highlight this one red so I can just put it in there at the end. Green, red, tomatoes. Okay. Function, physics process, state, machine, sending delta through there. Of course. Function. What is the meaning of the underscore in front? If you know, tell me. I'm just doing this kind of as like a monkey see, monkey do sort of deal. But I really don't know why some functions have the underscore in front or not. So current state, if current state equals state dot dead, return. And so this is how I make sure that if we've achieved the state of the thing is dead, we don't accidentally trigger a different state. I didn't have this statement in there earlier, and then whenever I did kill the enemy, he'd be dead, but then whenever I'd first like go into the detection area, they would still notice me. So it looked like the thing was dead, then it was alive, and it looked at me, then it closed its eyes again, which is kind of disconcerting a little bit. The next echelon is how to tell if we're dead. So if HP is equal to is less than or equal to 0, can't overlook that one. Current state equals state dot dead. Spawn animation dot play death. Then return. So these two being at the front, if the HP is 0 or less, we play the animation, we go to state dead, and then going back into the state machine, we never go any further. Oh, my dog's looking at me. What's up, girl? You gonna get off your bed? You're just gonna stay over there and look at me? You're just gonna stay there? Ah, whatever. Man's best friend. What you gonna do? Okay, so return. Yeah, so basically once you're dead, you can't escape that state as far as the state machine is concerned. Next, if spawn pod is on floor. For now, we're just going to put this one. If we are on the floor, dot is on ceiling. Oh, I should mess with that one a little bit, see what's up whenever I need to be on the ceiling. And spawn pod dot status equals falling. What's up, dog? Nothing? Alright. Print play spawn. Emit signal. Emit signal. Summon, comma, self, comma, global position. Is it going to be self? Oh, that's right, because I had it hard-coded whenever I showed y'all earlier. All right, let's see. Oh, that's what's up. Okay. Oh, that's like really lazy of me. Whatever. So we define spot. Let's define 2 and 3 real quick. 2, 3. Dude. Super duper. And so then if 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. Super duper. Alright, after all this stuff, we can finally go on to the state matching. Yeah. Match current state. If the state is asleep, sleep. Sleep. But slide on ceiling, that's not right. Sleep. Cool. But if we have a target spell, if target wake animation started equals false, this is just resetting those values for animation started equals wake animation fin equals false. And then current state equals awake. Cool. So state asleep, play asleep. Yeah. If target equals, if you got a target, reset those ones so we know that we're in the process of waking up. Current state is awake. State dot awake. I could keep it all capital anyway. Bully. If not target, meaning if you don't have a target, super cool. So if you don't have a target, current state equals state dot asleep, because go back to sleep. You got no reason to pay attention for anything. If not wake animation started. So what this means is if this value up here is false, if not wake animation started, spawn dot or spawn underscore animation dot play wake, and wake animation started went from being false to true. And the reason for this one is now that this is true, we can't accidentally just keep restarting that animation 60 times a second. Super duper. Elif wake animation started is true, and wake animation finished is completed. We're going to set the direction, and this L underscore R value is going to allow us to determine roughly where the character is relative to the spawning thing. Position minus position, the position of the spawner dot normalized. Cool. If L R is greater than 0, we're going to know that the character is to our right. If L underscore R is less than or equal to 0, new direction equals left. Super duper. If new direction does not equal last direction, spawn animation dot play look plus new direction. So basically, when we move past the spawning tree, if there's been a change in what's calculated as the new direction versus the last direction, then it's going to play the new animation to have it look in the direction that we've gone to. Last direction equals new direction, then new direction is now blank. Cool. So that's the awake state. Let's see, hurt. State dot hurt if not hurt animation started. Wake animation started equals false. And this is just resetting that earlier animation, so I can go back to being asleep and then awake later on. Wake animation finished equals false. Hurt animation started equals true. Spawn animation dot a hurt. Alright, if hurt animation finished, hurt animation started, hurt animation finished, both of those are now equal to false. Super cool. Current state equals state dot wake if target else state dot state. So when we enter the hurt state, we've just taken some damage from the character attacking. If this has not been started, because this is cycling through about 60 times a second, I think, for a physics process, then we will play the hurt animation and set hurt animation started to true. Then the only other option is once hurt animation finished is then true. We're going to reset those and then go to awake or go to asleep for now. Let's see. And that's the end of our state function, I think. So let's see. Hurt state function set hurt function set hurt set state hurt. This will tie into the character whenever we attack. When the character attacks the eyeball, inside of the damage dealing function inside the character, it also calls for this one to set the state to hurt. And this also exists in those plant enemies as well. I added a few additional states to those plant enemies since we last went into those. So if current state is not equal to state dot dead, current state equals state dot hurt. Then the hurt and started animation. Hurt animation started equals false. Hurt animation finished equals false. So this is the only possibility of restarting that animation is basically if you have been attacking the enemy faster than the hurt animation, this resets the hurt state. Let's see. And then very similar to that spawn pod function, no contact damage pass. So I don't run into it and accidentally get hurt. Function. This is an enemy. is an enemy. Pass. Okay, let's see. Function. And this is going to say, cool. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to turn the visibility on so you can see this. So I'm going to click on the detection area, which is the area that is fed information by this shape. I'm going to go to signals, and if the character body goes into it, so if body entered, we're going to connect that signal. Okie doke. And another safety, I guess, bypass. If current state equals state dot dead, return. So say, for instance, some weird combination of things happen, and I'm in the dead state, but I'm just like not fully disabled on monitoring. If I do this, then nothing else happens afterwards. But if I'm any other state, then target equals body. And this body is the character's body, because I'm only listening for layer 2, and I'm preserving layer 2 for only the characters. And then very similar to earlier, I'm setting the direction variable so I know which way to play that animation. So target dot position minus position, because this is inside of the plant spawner. Normalized. Yeesh. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with me so far. And then once again, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and grab this crap. If it's greater than 0, we're looking right. If it is less than 0 equal, we're facing left. And then we're also going to bump up the size of that detection boundary. And my reasoning for this is, once you know there's someone out there, you're going to be a little bit more cautious. So it'll be easier to trip this one. So detection shape dot scale equals vector 2, and then we're going to make it twice as big in both axes. And also, awake, that boolean is equal to true. I think this one may be able to be cut later as well. Whatever. And then current state equals state dot awake. And so far, all this other stuff, aside from these statements right here, it's all just controlling the plant and how it interacts with the player. Okay, and then on body exited, because we need what happens whenever you leave its area where it's paying attention to you. So on body exited, immediately target equals null, and this clears it out, so it's no longer paying attention to you. You're no longer a target. Last direction is now empty. New direction. New direction is now empty. Awake equals false, because there's nothing forcing it to stay awake. And current state equals state dot sleep. Okie doke. Okay. And so this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to add the next two functions, then I'll add the last one. So here's a placeholder for function. Oh wow, that's the timer timeout. Everything was in there. All right, cool. So node timeout on timer timeout. Now I'm going to skip over that guy for now, and function animation player. I think that's a vestigial function. So I'm going to skip that one. And on spawn animation player. Cool. So spawn animation player. Animation finished, and very similar to the spawn pod over on the other side. If animation name equals wake, then wake animation finished equals true. And this was the signal that says animation finished. So the animation is done. It sends a signal this is connected. It checks the name of the animation, which is the variable that's sent through this function. And it says true. Or if the animation is the hurt animation, then the hurt animation finished equals true. Oh boy. So if it's true, put the colon right there. Yeah, I don't think I need that one. All right. So I'm going to save that real quick, and let's see if this breaks anything. So we'll go over here to my map. Embarrassing. All right, let's see what happens. All right, so now we are in Godot, I hope, and I'm going to go ahead and trigger something. So I'm going to come over here. Oh boy. Well, so that was fun. I realized that I forgot on the using the L_R variable to do .x when comparing it to an integer value, so that caused it to freeze. Hopefully this time it'll act a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to approach this guy, and he sees me, he's looking at me on either side. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so does attack work? Attack doesn't work right now. Yeah, figure that one out. And we're back in Godot. So I noticed that when I tried to do the attack animation, it wasn't working. And the reason being is that I also need the player's area to be listening for the enemy. So I went to the hurt area and I put it on my designated enemy area. So it is going to be on 5, and then the character's weapon will know whenever it overlaps that area. So last step, awesome sauce, is for the timer. So what we're going to do is, this one's complicated enough that I think I'm just going to paste in the library at the beginning, and I'll talk to y'all like through it. So going back up, I'm going to grab this right here. I'm going to make sure it's good. So on ready, we're going to define the spawn list. And what this is this is a library that contains the relevant information for the pods. So I'm going to go ahead, and it looks like whenever I made my reference, they were not below the markers. So I'm going to take these all up above the marker. I'm also going to make sure that these are outside that hurt area. It's kind of embarrassing. Okay, so marker, spawny dude, marker, cool. Marker, spawn, marker, spawn, marker, spawn. Okay, so spawn pod. here, here, here. So I've got a library that I can cycle through, and I can look for the pod. I can look for the doc, or where it's supposed to be located as we're going through the process. So doc 1, bad spelling, doc 2, bad spelling, doc 3, bad spelling, and then I gotta go ahead and go down to get their animation players. So let's see. I'm probably making this one too complicated, but whatever. So animation player, animation player, animation player. I really don't know if this is supposed to be started yet. Whatever. Alright, our last function, on timer timeout. Because we've already been going for over an hour. I think this is the last of it. So let's go ahead and fix our indentation real quick, and I'll talk y'all through it. Let's see. So at the very beginning, spawned index is 0. The pod data is going to be the first record that's inside the library. So spawn list is those 3 pods. Pod data is the first one. If current state is asleep, or if current state is hurt, return, and we skip this guy for now. If current state is awake, then Control Z, 161. Okay. If current state is asleep or hurt, we're not going to do anything with the pod. If current state is awake. If pod data dot pods are identifying the node, and by way of the node, the script dot status is nothing, visible is true, and then we're going to do play grow. If the pod status is grown, then we're going to play fall. If pod dot status is spawned, then we're going to set the position of the pod equal to the doc pod position, and then we're going to set the status to nothing. And if the state is dead, if the pod status is nothing, play rot. If the pod dot status is grow bulb, play rot. If pod dot and if the status is grown, play rot. And then once we get to the end of this one on the timer, spawn index +1, but we're limiting it to the spawn list size. And then it will just cycle through again. Do I want the timer to start on ready? Man, I don't think that's right. I think I'm supposed to put that one inside of the boundary overlap. I'll tell you what I gotta do with the timer though. I do need to set it up so that it's not one shot. That's fine. Auto start is not what I want. Gonna make this one a little bit faster. I'm going to say at 1 second. 2 second intervals is fine. We're almost done. Dude, I think that I need to put this bad boy, instead of under ready, I need to put it. Let's find out. No better way, huh? Hey y'all. We're currently in Godot debug. I had to make 2 edits. I had to add a function called playSpawn inside of the pod, and then I also had to redefine the variables for each of those spawn pods since I moved them in the table of contents. So what we're going to see is now I step over here, I get noticed, and there's an offset for where those bulbs need to be, and they fall really slow. So in a second, what we're going to do is three things. We're going to address the offset, we're going to 2x the fall speed, and we're going to connect the signal so that this will now be able to spawn enemies, and then that's it. That's how we make a themed enemy that can also spawn other enemies. Okay, so the last edits are we're going to go here to the enemies. Like I said, we added play spawn. And we're going to set gravity, I guess, to 2x, so 1600. We're going to go in here real quick and we're going to address that offset. So grow. You see that? So let's go ahead and we're going to take the sprite. We're going to go transform 16 x y. No, that's too much. 14? Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm going to save that and I'm going to go back to this map. And since we're already here, I just need to connect the signal. So if I go to the new enemy spawner, node, connect it to let's go to the code for this guy real quick. So load place character. So I'm going to copy this function name right here. No, not character. No. Load place summon. Okay. So now I'm still here. I'm going to double click on this guy. And I'm going to send it as load place summon in the map platformer. Connected. Now we're connected. When the signal goes, it's going to summon the enemy. This is a useless variable because right now I've just got it hard coded, but at some point I'm going to have specific enemies able to summon other specific enemies. So got the address for the scene. Then it says we're going to load it as a pack scene. We're going to instantiate it. And we're going to add that one. We're going to place it at enemy position. And the +8 is there so it doesn't overlap whenever it's running for the little plant munchkin thing. And when the plant munchkin gets loaded, we're going to connect the summon signal again so that guy can summon more reinforcements. I think that's it. Oh, character. Just so y'all can see it. Smack your enemy stick. Oh, here. So when I attack an enemy, it sends it as an area. I do a quick run up to get the parent of the enemy because of just crap I got to do as far as what layers what's on. And then dot set state hurt, and that's what sets the hurt state for both the plant bulbs and then for the spawner. So this is it. Go ahead and put on some equipment so I can do some more damage, protect myself. And we're going to go over here. I am noticed. The animations are in the right place. And we are now spawning enemies. A little bit easier now that I've equipped a rusty sword. And if I get tired of dealing with enemies, I can just attack the spawner. So that's it. That's how you can take an enemy and theme it as a spawner and have it create unlimited enemies. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. If you got any questions, hit me in the comments. I'll get back to you. I guess now I'll just ride my turtle off into the sunset. Y'all be good.